YouTube, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. The name is IFrostBolt. Today I'm going to be showing you one of the strongest builds in the game right now. This is good for GMs, high level content, or the seasonal activity at the highest tier. So I will divide this video in different parts and I will put the dim link down below in the description. Without further ado, let's dive into it. This is Renewal Grasp. Now previously, when these exotics were normal, they were really good at high-end content, but they got nerfed, they increased the cooldown, but since then they have reverted that change. So now at tier 10 discipline, your dust fields are at 45-second cooldown, which is incredible, but the power comes with this exotic. It says, your dust field grenades have a much larger effect radius. Allies inside the dust field take reduced damage and targets inside the area deal reduced damage. Now focus on the final part. This basically helps you become a tank along with your teammates. It's a really good support exotic. The top part is so awesome. It makes the dust field bigger, pretty much like a bubble tie-in, and it doesn't stop there. I want to go ahead and direct your attention into my subclass of choice here. Of course it's stasis, but for the aspects and the fragments, this is where the build crafting comes into play. Now, first of all, we want Touch of Winter, and if you're asking why, well, basically we can use the crystal from inside the dust field as another form of resist, but this aspect combined with dust field will actually increase the radius of the dust field even more. It's a pretty cool synergy. Next up I have Grim Harvest. Now, I'm gonna stop right here and tell you this build strictly focuses on being a tank. There's multiple ways to shape this into something more different, such as using Shatter Dive, but for this video, I want you to be an absolute tank, okay? Oh my god. Now, Grim Harvest states that defeating slowed or frozen combatants creates stasis shards. These shards grant melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. This is going to help with just melee spam abilities and also just granting myself more stasis shards, and you'll see why. So obviously we got the dust field grenade. We're going to be using Gambler's Dodge. Anytime that I dodge, I can get my shurikens back, and it just completes the whole loop here of ability spamming. As for the fragments, we have Whisper of Chains. Anytime we're near frozen targets or stasis crystals, obviously we take reduced damage. This helps whenever we don't have a dust field. Next up, shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts the grenade recharge rate. This is one of the few ways that we're going to get our dust field back even faster. Next up, we have Whisper of Endurance. Slows that you apply to targets last longer. This does affect with the shuriken and also the dust field grenade, so very important to have that on this setup. Next up, we have Whisper of Conduction. Nearby stasis shards strike to your position. We're using this for the stat bonuses, but also because it's so incredible to get these stasis shards just completely go to you, and then it chains into my final option here, Whisper of Rhyme. It just makes everything come full circle. We get the shards, we get melees, but on top of that, we also get an overshield to help us become even tankier at the highest level of content. Now that is my subclass. Let's go ahead and dive into my mods of choice. This is going to be a little bit tricky, so make sure you pay attention. As for my helmet, I'm basically just going to try to generate myself some orbs of power with my stasis weapons and also use ammo finders for whatever gun that I want. As for my mods on my gauntlets, I'm going to be using impact induction, as I want you to notice that we are going to be spamming a bunch of melee kills, so anytime that I tag a player with those shurikens, it's going to help my dust fields come back faster, and that's our main way of surviving, is just throwing so many of them, ad clearing, and being an absolute tank. As for your chest piece, these are flexible. You can choose whatever elements are needed for the activity that you're playing. Although I do recommend slapping at least one melee damage resistance, as you will be close range against targets. For the boots, I like using recuperation. You need to find a way to grant yourself health regeneration, as this build itself doesn't give you health regen. On top of that, I'm slapping 2 grenade mods to get even more dust fields. You get the idea, right? As for my cloak, this one's pretty interesting. Anytime we dodge, we can make an orb of power, so it helps with grenades and healing, but I really want to use powerful attraction here, as I'm close range. I can just dodge near a target to get my melee back, but on top of that, I pick up any nearby orbs to heal myself and also get myself even more grenades. Dude, I'm fucking nuts with renewals right now.
Yeah, Renewals looks really fun.
Alright, awesome. So that covers my subclass, my mods. What about my weapons? So I'm using Aegir Scepter. I'm at close range. I can spam a bunch of trace rifle ammo. I'm slowing down targets because every time that I get a final blow kill with this gun, it will do that slowing burst effect, and then I can freeze them pretty easily. The catalyst is epic because I know a lot of people don't care about the stasis super. It doesn't feel like it does too much damage. So how about we use that, convert it into some actual damage, supercharge this trace rifle, and just completely melt anything that we need to kill right away. So yes, this exotic is really awesome. I highly recommend you use it. As for my energy weapon, I'm using a threat detector volt shot weapon. This is just something for ad clearing, help me out, put a little bit of jolt, get a little bit of damage out of what I'm doing with my primary. The last option here that I'm using is a bump in the night with impact casting, auto loading holster, and chill clip. Chill clip obviously is going to synergize with my subclass, but overall it's a nice rocket to do a little bit of damage here on bosses that I need to fight.
Oh, nice tangle, bro.
Yeah, man, I used it to shatter some enemies, bro. Listen, we gotta share, no? Like, I'm giving you resist. You gotta give me your balls.
Alright, so you might be wondering, are these weapon loadouts mandatory? Can I change anything? And absolutely, do not worry about copying the exact guns that I have. I messed around with conditional finality a little bit just for fun. You can also use the stasis primary, which I highly recommend. That's enjoyable. I do have a demolitionist headstone and unending tempest that fit perfectly with renewal grasps. One final note here that I want to make on my subclass is that the Whisper Rhyme is actually a flex fragment. So if this is not to your liking, you can actually change this. And one of the most fun fragments for me, if I didn't want to be a super tank, I can just, get rid of the overshield a little bit and then change it to the fragment that actually gives me even more melee energy for some incredible melee spam and just constant dust-filled spam. You'll see in some of that gameplay in Altars of Sorrow. It's a fun loop, dude. If you want that ability spam, that's the way to go. So Renewal's Grasp definitely gets that S tier pass in my opinion. This is an incredible exotic. I'm happy it's back. It was one of my favorites. I'm kind of curious how it performs in Crucible. I'll have to get some gameplay with that at some point and see if it's going to be a problem. But as far as PvE goes, this is definitely an S tier choice for hunters. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you enjoy the build. And don't forget, the dim link is down below. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.